Did I join another cult? Hello, all of my fabulous, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you're doing very, very well. You look fantastic. And today I wanted to go over what is a cult. It's been a little while since we've gone through that on my channel, and I like to cover cults, scams, culty scam, mob mentality, groupthink. We also dive into pseudoscience scams. That's a big one, like the tarot card readers and psychics and whatnot, exorcists, etc. All of that stuff is what I cover over here. And so I thought it would be good if we just kind of went through again, what is a cult? What constitutes a cult? How the hell do I even decide what a cult is versus just a normal group? And just have a little chit chat about it because we're going to be deep diving a lot of cults coming up. So it'd be a good thing to refresh, if you will. So without further ado, I'm going to roll that intro and we'll get right into it.
Karma's a bitch.
All we need to know about cults. Of course, first and foremost, what is a cult? So the term cult refers most often to a group of people with usually atypical beliefs living in relative isolation from the world. They tend to centralize around one charismatic person, the cult leader, who orders the beliefs, behaviors, and customs of all the other members. Many cults stand in as de facto new religions for their followers, but some are irreligious in nature. So, for example, the QAnon cult is more about politics than religion, and Ekankar as a cult is a religious cult. Harold Klem's religious cult. We cover that on my channel often. A lot of people seem to think that in order to join a cult, you have to be unintelligent, you have to have low self-esteem, you have to have no friends, and you have to be seeking something. Now, the only thing that's correct about that is most people that join cults are seeking a larger meaning of life. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, as it states here. Why do people join cults? People join cult movements for various reasons, most of which revolve around a desire for meaning and community. Many who become part of such organizations have troubled backgrounds and difficulty fitting into society. They might also feel mainstream culture has no place for them and nothing of spiritual value to offer either. And you saw this in terms of the Love Has Won cult with Amy Carlson. Former cult members often describe the long-lasting sense of loneliness and nihilism they felt prior to becoming part of something bigger than themselves. All of us want a sense of importance on this earth. We all want to find a main purpose for why we are here, and I feel like the people that seek that out the most are the most vulnerable to fall into this. It doesn't mean you're unintelligent. In fact, I did a whole video about how cults actually prey on those who are the most intelligent instead of least intelligent. So it's usually people that are seeking something larger than themselves, and maybe they want a sense of community while doing so. This encourages them to put down their defenses and accept the stranger elements of their new communities. Of course, this has sometimes led to horrific and even deadly outcomes in extreme circumstances. There are many, many different types of cults that focus on different end goals or beliefs, but these are the four major categories, if you will, the main ones. First one is doomsday cults. Certain cults come together to prepare for the allegedly imminent end of the world. For instance, the Branch Davidians stockpiled firearms and explosives in a Waco, Texas compound over the 1980s and 90s to prepare for the apocalypse. This led to an infamous standoff with the federal government. And of course, the apocalypse never comes. It never comes with these cults. The second one is political cults. Again, QAnon is a good example. Political groups on both the left and the right can morph into cults. A lot of people would consider the SJW subculture to also be a bit of a cult. Just say it. Janja Lalick wrote an entire account of her own experience in such an environment. The third is religious cults, which is probably the one that we do cover here most on the channel. It's the most popular because a lot of times when you mention cults, people think of religious cults as their own personal examples. It's not often that they automatically identify Avon as a cult. Instead, they think of Jonestown, you know what I mean? So religious cults are probably the most known. It's spiritual beliefs that serve as the bedrock for many cults. Some cults are offshoots of mainline religions, while others offer brand new dogmas and theology, again, like Ekankar. It's kind of its own theology that pulls from all the different theologies and then preys on all religions, as you don't have to leave your religion to join theirs. It would be considered like a new age movement thing. The fourth kind is sex cults. And I am doing this because we are just about to dive into one of the worst sex cults that has ever existed, ever, on my channel in a couple days. So I thought that it was really important to just kind of go through all of this again before we do that and dive into more. Sex cults are all types of cults that might have a component of sexual abuse. Some focus on sex as one of their primary functions, however. So, for instance, New York based NXIVM encouraged rampant sexual behavior between its group members before dissolving. NXIVM was a multi-level marketing company. You probably heard of it because it was run by a man named Keith Raniere and Allison Mack, who was actually a famous Hollywood actress. And so because of that, it got a lot of attention. And it I don't know how else to describe it to you other than a multi-level marketing sex cult. And if you want more information on that one, I have covered it extensively on my channel. We even celebrated when Keith Raniere got a 120-year sentence to jail. So you can go check that one out for more information. And we're going to be diving into those kinds now on my channel. So just trigger warning if that's something that might upset you in future. Now I just want to get into like what makes a cult. I mean, am I just running around here going, there's a group, it's a cult. There's a group, it's a cult. That's a cult. This is a cult. You're a cult. He's a cult. She's a cult. They're all a cult. No, no. There are certain characteristics that have to be present, and there is another tool that we use in order to decide if something is just a religion, for example, or if it's an actual religious cult. And these four traits here have to be present for it to be considered a cult instead of just a group. So the first one is authoritarian control. Cultism hinges on encouraging maximum dependency. People in the cult must feel incapable of living an individual life outside the norms of this group. These beliefs often go hand in hand with a worshipful attitude towards the group's authoritarian leader. Oh, I mean, you could even use on passive and Ash Mufara as an example with this one. He says that he came here to save the world through technology and through on passive. And if you don't join on, then, you know, you're going to be missing out. The second one is extremist beliefs. Now, this one's very important. Just because you have a religious set of belief system and you're in a group setting doesn't automatically make you a cultist. It has to be extremist. Here on my channel, we talk about extreme beliefs. So, like, not just your beliefs, you have to be extremist in your belief system, okay? It's not just people that believe in God, for example. Not all of them are in a cult. And I think that there's been a lot of miscommunication out here. A lot of people will just sum up anyone in a religion is automatically in a cult. Organized religion is a cult. No, not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have all of these things and check off the B.I.T.E model, which we're going to talk about in a moment. So I don't know if that's a fair statement to say all religions are a cult or all organized religions are a cult, because not all of them have extremist beliefs. Cult members hold to very dogmatic and extreme beliefs. They also are unable to question these belief systems without fear of reprisal or punishment from the leader or other group members. I know you're going to bring up like Catholicism and how you have to go and repent for your sins and you have to do confession and all of this kind of thing, but that's not what it means. I would argue that Mormonism is more of a cult because in that group, there's such a strict set of beliefs that you have to hold and set of rules that you have to follow. And if you break those rules, the other members are told to rat you out to the elder of the group. So everyone's like ratting each other out, you know what I mean? And then you can actually get in trouble and you will get punished. Actually punished, and it won't just be go say some Hail Marys. It'll be worse. So I think that we need to really dive more into that out here on the interwebs and really discuss what is the difference between just having strong beliefs and extremist beliefs, because it's not the same. Isolation from society is another big one. As soon as new members join a cult, other adherents work hard to isolate them from family members and friends. You see this a lot in Scientology, which I've also covered here on my channel. When one of the family members leaves Scientology, they all get shunned. So no one in that family is allowed to talk to the person who's not a Scientologist. That isolates them from their own family members. It'll isolate them from having any friends that aren't Scientologists. And it isolates them from society in the long run, right? That would be a good example with that one. And this helps fulfill the mind control aspirations of the leader. It also creates a hive mind of sorts, like a group think, between the new person and the other members. When the new person comes into the group, because they're isolated from society and all they have are the other members of the group, it's very easy for them to then fall into the group think with the rest of the members, right? The last one is veneration of a single individual, not necessarily being like God, usually individual like a person. Charismatic leaders are often at the center of most cults. Consider the Manson family of the late 1960s. I have a 3-part series on the Manson family. Go and check that out. As their name suggests, they adopted the beliefs of their leader, Charles Manson, and fulfilled his requests. Yeah, Charles Manson did just kind of demand that the Tate LaBianca murders take place. He did not himself go there and do anything other than tell them to go and commit the crimes. So a lot of people say that the Manson family carried out his demand to fulfill his request of murder. The same pattern repeats in almost all other cults, albeit to less violent ends in many cases. I'm thankful for that. This here is Stephen Hassan's B.I.T.E model. And those of us that speak out about cults and group mentality, multi-level marketing, etc., we use this. B.I.T.E is an acronym that actually stands for behavioral control, information control, thought control, emotional control. And it is all about how the cults actually control the minds of their members and the behavior and thought process, everything, right? And the information that they take in. What we do is we usually go through all of the points on this B.I.T.E model and we'll check them off. Like, okay, the person is restrict or control sexuality. Check. Okay, this person uses excess meditation, prayer, or chanting to block out their thoughts. Check. And we go through, and if most of the things are checked off, then we do look at it as a cult instead of a group. So if it has the 4 traits we discussed and checks off a lot of this, then we call it a cult. And we love Stephen Hassan here, okay? And if you do want any more information on the B.I.T.E model, or if you yourself are in a cult and you want to get out, this is a great website to use. It's freedomofmind.com. It is a resource center run by Stephen Hassan. It has the whole B.I.T.E model on there and goes into detail explaining it, so you can go and check it out for yourself. And if you are in a group and you want to know, like, did I join another cult? I suggest going there, going through the B.I.T.E model for yourself, and, just kind of assessing the situation. You can even get a hold of people on this page to reach out for support. So I love this website. Real great resource that I use constantly on here. I just want to go over some examples of cults. I know we've been bringing up some, but this is a better way to show you guys some great examples of bad cults. Heaven's Gate is one that I have talked about on my channel, and we are going to be diving even deeper into it in future. It was inspired by the book of Revelations. Bonnie Nettles and Marshall Applewhite formed the Heaven's Gate as a doomsday cult with a focus on UFOs. In 1997, all the members died by mass suicide in an effort to ride a comet passing by the Earth. It was a mass suicide. They all wore similar clothing. They all had a special way that they had to be laid to rest. It was creepy. Go check out my coverage on it. It's a lot. People's Temple is another one. Jim Jones, charismatic preacher from the United States, formed the People's Temple to spread his own flavor of Christianity before moving to Guyana. There he founded Jonestown. This is actually where the expression drink the Kool-Aid comes from. Because unfortunately, the mass suicide, it was Kool-Aid mixed with cyanide that was used. So it became an expression, drink the Kool-Aid means falling for a cult or extreme belief system without really thinking with critical thinking skills for yourself, you know? So it was kind of a joke when they said he wanted to spread his own flavor of Christianity. But Jonestown was a compound for his religious group of followers, and again in 1978, they died of mass suicide, is what it's usually described as. I call it a murder, and a lot of us do consider it to be a murder, as the people were brainwashed in this group into believing that they had to do this. And there is evidence that people were changing their minds at the last minute and they were forced, which is what I consider to be murder. I still cannot get the screams of the clip out of my head from listening to Jonestown. There is a recording. Don't do it to yourself. I had to do it to myself, and it is still the worst thing I have ever heard in my entire life. And because of that, I can't call it a mass suicide. To me, that thing was a murder. Then there's also the Unification Church, and it's a new religious movement that began in South Korea. The Unification Church spread to the rest of the world, so it's everywhere. All adherents follow the teachings of Sun Myung Moon, hence their nickname, the Moonies. And you might have heard of the Moonies. And if you go to freedomofmind.com, you'll hear more about the Moonies. We're going to be discussing that on my channel in future, so stay tuned for that. One of the major cults that we have been discussing on this channel that reminds me of a lot of what we're talking about here today is the Love is One turn to 5D, full disclosure, turn to Joy Reigns cult. It is still going on to this day. There is still a small group of followers that are following this Jason Castillo asshole. I just did another update on it, and I am continually giving you guys updates as often as I possibly can. And in future, we are diving into Children of God. And 2 days from now, we're going to be doing a live dive researching the Children of God case. It is one of the worst sexual cults in all of history, and it's still going on as well. So we got to talk about it. But I really do want to see like Love is One and Joy Reigns, 5D full disclosure, all get represented often as a cult. I feel like there's not enough awareness being spread about this. A lot of people covered Amy Carlson when she was found mummified, and then they just kind of stopped. The story's not over. This thing split off into 2 more cults, and it's still going, and Jason's still all over the place, and telling everyone that he's president's reincarnated. Like, we need to keep speaking out about this thing and put an end to it as soon as possible. I worry it's going to keep growing if we don't. And that is pretty much all you need to know about cults, at least a big sum up of what I could present to you in the quickest amount of time possible. Again, continue to watch my channel and you will continue to find out more information as we go along and deep dive several cults going forward. If you like to watch videos on cults, if you like deep dive, if you would like to study group behavior and group mentality, and even throw some spade at some pseudoscience, this is the place for you. You're going to want to subscribe. You're going to want to join our fabulous, beautiful, amazing members. All of the beautiful people do join them, all right? And you don't want to be ugly. So hit that join button. And no matter where you are, what you're doing, I hope that you're having a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. Take care. Be safe on here. We are also in future diving into more online cults. And this is why I like to talk about Joy Reigns and Love Has Won. It started on the internet. People are not understanding that there are internet community cults on here. And I think we need to dive more into that. So we're going to be doing that in this next year. And I would love for you to come on that journey with me. I hope to see you very, very soon. Bye! And remember, don't join a cult. But if you do, come message me. I'll help get you out.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession, I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a